Now the next one is the team you love, Donnie, and that is the Sydney Swans, as they have a lot closer game than you like to see against this St. Kilda Saints team, especially when you're in the position that the Swans are in. Especially they're gunning for a top four spot. This did not really look like a top four performance, but they win nonetheless. And what was nice to see is that although it was a pretty close game the rest of the way, they get down a little bit early, but they don't have nearly as slow of a start as we've kind of gotten a little used to seeing from this young Swans team. So they get out to a about 21 point lead in the first quarter. That goes back down in the second quarter. They get it back. They kind of give it away, and then they hold it. It gets close to the end of the game, but the Swans are able to hold on here and end up getting the win ultimately. And it was poor goal kicking by either team made this game a lot closer than it really needed to be. And if the Swans were able to clean up inside that 50, they would have won this game a lot more handily. And so it's nice to see the team get a win like this. It's never a bad thing. It's a little bit weird seeing them play the St. Kilda team closer than they really should have. But the question is, Donnie, do the Swans still have a chance at one of those top four spots this year?
Oh, okay. Top four spots. I can't homer this. I can't homer this as much as I want, as much as I probably could. Because I can't do it. I love the Swans to death. I just don't see them having the top four type of
Mm-hmm.
season this year, just because, again, there's still some really difficult opponents still
Yeah.
left to be played. This is a St. Kilda team that I'm going to kind of contradict you just the tiniest bit. This is a St. Kilda team that if you look at their list on paper, again, on
Mm-hmm.
paper, I know, on paper, this list is a really good list. There's a ton
Yes.
of talent. It's really, really good.
Yes. I don't
They
want to knock St. Kilda too hard on that one. Sorry, sorry, Saints fans.
No, 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 no. I don't think you're knocking them. I just think they're underperforming compared to what they have in the tank. Again,
Mm.
last year this was a team that made it to the finals, knocked out the doggies in the first round, and we won't go after that,
Yeah.
right? This is a Saints team that this year has just been there's just something not clicking.
mm.
Now, some would say, well, the injuries and where they're happening are devastating. When you lose
Sure.
Rowan Marshall and you have that Marshall Ryder combination at ruck that I think for a while was so dominant in the ruck battles, I think that really helped out St. Kilda. But they just have injuries at the worst possible places. Their midfield is decimated. They're starting to get to the point where they're having to play younger and younger players because they're running out of bodies to just put in this roster, which is making the fact that Ben Rutten's trying to drop people because they're not in form it really hard because he's running out of guys to be able to play. And this really was a game where it was a combination of horrible goal kicking. I mean, combined these two teams kicked 25 behind. Not good.
Mm-hmm.
This really is not good. But the accuracy really kind of was the deciding factor considering Swans kicked 13-14, Sydney kicks 12. I mean, St. Kilda kicks 12-11. But just to go quickly into the final fourth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
there were three shots. There were two shots at least in the final 2 minutes of the game where St. Kilda could have taken the lead, and they missed him to the right, letting Silda and letting St. Sydney off the hook. But here's where I'm going to show you I'm not rose-colored glasses fans that are listening to
Yeah.
this. Sydney had a couple of shots to bury this game, and they didn't do it as well. So this
mm-hmm.
really was one of those Sydney fans. I chatted with many of them that I know. We all kind of went, "Whew, that was close." They won the game. That's great. You go into a game against Hawthorn, another one that you should win. But these are games that are scary because you're expected to win, and you just never know. I said that in the preview last week. I said this game scares me because St. Kilda has the skill to be able to play with Sydney. They just haven't performed. This was a much better performance than some of the St. Kilda performances we have seen earlier this year. I mean, when St. Kilda's getting beat by 9 goals 4 times, I think a lot of Sydney fans were going, "Please let us have that team."
Right.
But it didn't happen. This was the much more improved, better St. Kilda team, as Sydney pulls out a tough, hard win. This isn't as ugly a win as some people would say. Was it ugly? Yes, as I've stated, Bowling Shoe Ugly is a perfect example of how this game was when it comes to goal kicking.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a win. It's a tough win. You take 4 points. You get for Sydney. You get Logan McDonald back in the game after a month off, which is really good for a young guy's talent to kick a couple of goals early, still make an impact on the game. You come out with no injuries. Everybody seems healthy. You go into one more game before the bye week, and then you can kind of get some rest into some people before you head on to that really tough second half of the season.
Yeah. Definitely will be interesting to see if the Swans. There is a decent chance, like it's still at the top four. Probably gonna need a Geelong to fall out and then jump Port with that. I think they do have a good chance to at least top Port in this one, just because I still don't know what to expect out of this Port Adelaide team. But I guess we will just have to find out in this last stretch of 10 games of the season.